Why isn't it going? Hello, everybody. We're just going to kick it off. Hi, Peg. It's so good to see you.
Good
I'm
morning.
sorry I haven't been live lately. It's been a lot, but we're back. I'm here with Stacey Ericson. She's in my house. Say hi. Let me know, Peggy, if anybody comes in that needs readings. I'll try to get to them, but I want to just get started right now.
Okay.
Talking about Murphy of the Idaho 4 murders. If you guys aren't aware of what I'm talking about, I don't know how. Where have you been? I'm slightly obsessed with this case. It happened November 13th, 2022 in Idaho at the University of Idaho. 4 college students were killed by one person, supposedly. Everything that I say and Stacey says are just for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to talk about or blame or accuse or try to figure anything out. Stacey is an amazing animal psychic. She's a medium. She works with people too. But her abilities with the animals are unsurpassed. So I do encourage you to reach out to Stacey. What are we going to share your phone number? We'll share her phone number if you'd like to book a reading with Stacey for yourself, your pet, all of the above. But I want to start off and she's going to talk all about it, you guys, so you'll really love it. I do want to start off though with the Idaho 4 murders because she has some insight from Murphy the dog who survived this horrible attack back in 2022, which let me just say, statistically speaking, when there is an occurrence like this, animals do not normally make it. They are also generally attacked. So it's unusual that Murphy survived, and God bless him. Murphy is a beautiful golden doodle. Look at him. He was only 10 months old when this happened in 2022. And as I said, he was unharmed. He has a story to tell that, regardless of the fact that Brian Koberger, in my opinion, was forced to give a plea deal to plea that he is guilty, I believe factually has been proven that he is not guilty, but he was forced into a plea deal. So, Stacey, you might have to look into that too. But regardless, I do want to emphasize to anybody who's watching now or sees this recording that this case, the Idaho 4 murders, 4 college students, 1 perpetrator, supposedly, allegedly, so he says, were killed by this one person in 7 minutes, and not the dog, and where'd the dog go, and the dog witnessed everything. So there's a lot to be said about this case, and I lost my train of thought for a minute there. What I wanted to say is this case has more data, terabytes, than 9/11, than the Epstein trial. So if it's so cut and dry, why is there so much to be learned, that's been redacted? It's one of the most redacted crime cases I've ever seen. I am a former journalist. I'm not a true crime expert, but I'm old enough to know this is probably one of the most redacted cases I've ever seen in my life. So therefore, yeah, we have somebody that said they're guilty, but is he the only one? Evidence will show that he's not. And you guys keep an eye out in the news because this is not going away anytime soon. Again, that's my own personal opinion. Hi, Angie. Nice to see you, honey. So, and before I give the mic over to Stacey to tell you what Murphy initially has provided to her, I do want to mention the 4 college students who passed away, including Kaylee Goncalves, who was a Pi Beta Phi sorority girl. Xana. Well, wait a minute. I want to mention Maddie, Madison Mogen, because tomorrow, March 25th, is her birthday. And Stacey and I did not plan this around Maddie's birthday in heaven, but it is a joy to be able to say happy birthday, Maddie. Lots of prayers and blessings for you and everything you went through and your family. So I hope you'll be with us, Maddie, today as we talk about Murphy and what happened to you all. So again, it was Kaylee, Maddie, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Kaylee and Madison were besties, like this. Ethan was dating Xana when this all occurred in 1122 Kingsway. I might have the address wrong, but yeah, so it's her birthday tomorrow, and this case just will not go away. And I hope that, hi, Miriam, so good to see you, and Kathy, hi, everybody. So again, happy birthday to Madison in heaven. I hope you guys will refresh your memory about the Idaho 4 and whether you think Brian is the only sole perpetrator or not. We're really just focusing on Murphy and what he has to say. And lastly, I will say that Murphy is alive and well and apparently with Xana's family. And I'm not sure. We have to ask him. So I'm gonna give Stacey the mic. And if you guys haven't met my friend Stacey, go back, check out our video. It was about 5 months ago? About 5 months ago. And she has so much to tell you about her ability to communicate with animals here, those that have crossed over as well as people. So let me just scoot over because I'm so lucky to have her in my house. Here, honey. Come on.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. This is so much fun to do this kind of
We are
stuff,
having fun.
especially online. And I got to drive up here, and sunny Florida is so gorgeous. But anyway, so what happened is that Elizabeth asked me to communicate with a dog. She didn't tell me anything about the dog. She just said that she wanted me to communicate with the dog to see if I could help him and us all, I guess, understand what had happened while he was witnessing, an event in Idaho. And so I said,
Hold
okay.
on 1 second. I want you guys to understand she doesn't watch any of this. Literally, we're just horse people, right?
Yes,
We're not watching TV.
Yeah.
So I called her because I have been obsessed. And when you see Murphy, like, oh my God, like, right? And Kaylee, Murphy stares at me.
I know, he's so
He
cute.
stares at me. So I called her and I said, you have to do this. So you guys, she's blind. And many of you are probably not all up to speed with all the details that I obsessively know, but neither does she. And every time I thought what she told me might be off, it's proven to be right. All right, that's it. I'm done.
So when she told me to talk to Murphy, I went ahead and I just said, what happened on that terrible night? And that was basically the only thing that that I had for information, is that he just had witnessed something terrible. I didn't even know what it was. So it was really, really fun to talk to Murphy. He was such a beautiful, well, he is such a beautiful little animal. So when I did initially check out his picture, it was the day before I actually communicated with him. But I always get like a little bit of a sense of what's going on. And so that night before bed, the preliminary information came up that he was put into a cold truck. Like wherever he was, it was super, super cold. He was in a truck, and these people, hang on just a second. I'm just trying to read my own handwriting here. That it was a robbery murder, and then he says brother. And so that was pretty much all I got out of the first night right before I went to sleep. So then the next morning, my boyfriend was all over me about finding out what murder and all this other stuff. And so it was like really interesting. So I woke up and I went ahead and started asking questions. And my question to him was, what was, what had happened when he was there witnessing this event? And he said that he was laying in bed with his person, who was, I guess, Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yep. And he was sleeping, and it was dark outside. And then he heard somebody calling his name, and it was he heard somebody calling his name. And the person who knew him knew his name, but he didn't actually know the person like really, really well. It wasn't like an everyday person, because I asked him that. And he said, Murphy, come, in a really quiet whisper. And Murphy came out into another area of the building or house, and the man took him and put a leash on him. And then the dog walker had brown hair and lighter eyes. And then the man was a white guy, and he was dressed in black. And they were both actually, he saw another guy too. He said that the man walked him past another guy. And I think that what he was showing me was like a kitchen type of area or somewhere with, like a counter. But anyway, the man walked him past another guy, and that guy was tall, dark, and dressed in black. And he saw another knife. So the first guy had a knife, like showing in the front of his body. And then the other guy slowly turned and looked at him as he was walking past him. He also caught the other knife in that guy's, front of his body too. And he said that guy was dark, and he showed me like a dark face. It could have been a mask, a ski mask, or a black man, and dark eyes. And he was also taller. He said both guys were dressed in black hoodies and sweatshirts. And then they took him to a truck out in front of the place, and they put him in the truck. And when they put him in the truck, they were like a little bit rough. So he called it rude. And he also said that he was put on bench. It was a bench seat with plastic covering the bench seat. And the truck was in the driveway. So do you want to say any more?
Yeah, that's all you have that time.
That's all I have that time.
He
said that they had plenty of time, because when they came back to get him, it was a long time. So he said they had plenty of time to do what they were doing, whatever it was that they were doing. And then after I spoke to him, and this is like how wonderful this dog is, I just want to also reiterate this. This is so freaking amazing, because I was trying to get more information from the dog. And all of a sudden he said, I want you to know that the world is still a good place. And I was like, oh my gosh. And tears came to my eyes, and I couldn't talk to him anymore after that, because it was just such a big heart. He just sent so much love to me when he said it. So I just thought that the world does need to know that it is still a good place to live in, even through all of this, stuff that's happening even today. So just, that was Murphy's message to the world. So it was really, really cool. Animals are so amazing.
So cool.
I know. He's so sweet and loving and kind, and just a beautiful dog.
That is so cool. So I do have a couple questions that maybe anybody listening that's obsessed with the Idaho 4 will please help us understand. That put this into context, that Kaylee probably was in her bed. Okay. Everybody's like, Kaylee was downstairs dancing with Murphy. Really? I don't know. I don't think so. I believe her. Are we going to believe Dylan? Sorry, Dylan, if you're listening. But honestly, I'm just going to believe the most innocent witness, which is Murphy. And evidence will show you guys that probably Kaylee was in her bed. So kudos to you, because for a while there, I'm like, they weren't in bed. No, I think they were in bed. And I should also explain that even though there was no case, there was no court hearing or trial is what I'm looking for. Brian's off. And so all of this information can be released, but they're doing it dribs and drabs and dribs and drabs, because they're hiding something really big. There's no way he was the only person. And a key to this, if anyone is listening and can help, is Murphy. Who took Murphy out? Right? Because factually, Murphy did not have blood on him. So either they took him out, I don't know. They bathed him, they did not. What did they do? according to Murphy, he was led out, put in the back of a truck, and there were multiple trucks around there, multiple vehicles, 5 vehicles to be exact. 1 or 2 were trucks like you described. There's also in my humble opinion, a falsified impound form on Murphy from the police department. And I'm not accusing the police department in any way. However, it is actually a forged form. Murphy was not held overnight with the police. And Murphy also was found. Here's another reason we know he wasn't in the impound. He was found in another room. What is this? 10 hours later, they waited 8, 9 hours to call 911, which is the first thing that got my attention about a case like this. Who waits to call 911 when there's 2 survivors? Excuse me? So let me just start there. And then Murphy's put back in this room. Okay, guys, he wasn't in the house the whole time. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So someone went in, took Murphy out, took Murphy somewhere. Murphy says in the back of a truck, the back seat bench was covered in plastic. So what does that mean, you guys? Was it Kaylee's new vehicle? I don't know. Was it a police truck? I don't know. Was it a brother? One of whoever Murphy refers to as brother. We're not naming names. We're not accusing anybody. We're just passing along psychic downloads that we trust. So in that context, think about 2 people. There's not just one perpetrator that could do all of this in 7 minutes. And then people wait 8 hours and there's more terabytes in this file than 911. What? Make it make sense. So then when they come back, I didn't upload the picture, but in the morning or the next day, which is really noon, when the police show up, Murphy's running around outside. Well, is he in the room or was he outside? None of it makes sense. So, what do you think?
Well, I think that Murphy was put from what he had said, because I did try to tap back in, but it was another time, and he did say that he was taken out of the truck and then put back into the building through a door, and they just shut the door behind him. So they kind of shoved him in the door, took off the leash, and shoved him through the door.
Like put him in this room?
Yeah. And he said that was it. But I didn't get any more than that because something else had happened in my life, and I just didn't have time at that point. And then from then on, I didn't really tap back into Murphy after that.
You know what you did do, though? You tapped into the Nancy Guthrie case.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that for a minute, because that's not one that I've kept up with so much. Hi, Sassy. But I do believe many people I've asked will say that Nancy did not have a dog. I believe she did.
No.
She didn't.
No, not after all.
What happened then?
We found out. I know my boyfriend was like, "What if she had a dog? You should try to talk to a dog." And turns out she didn't.
But
They
you
said
got
she had one.
information.
There was something that was there as far as the dog goes, but it wasn't her dog, so it wasn't present.
But do you feel like the information you got was important?
No,
No.
not
Okay.
important.
Well, it's important when you know it's real and it's a thing, the downloads, and when it's not. Like we were saying,
Oh yeah.
when you know, you know.
Yeah. This dog he definitely witnessed something. I mean, for sure, and had this experience. That night while he was there, he definitely had this experience. So it was really interesting. And for me, it was really interesting to talk with him because I can hear words, I can also see pictures, and I can feel energy. So if he's like in pain, like he said, he was like shivering, he was so cold in the back of the car. So he was in the back of that truck for a long time. And the words that he used too, I make sure that I write down their exact words because it's important. So he didn't say car, he said truck. So, and he said he had to jump up into the truck, so there's like all these words that really fit. So it's like those little, small details can mean something and maybe helping out with this case.
Yeah, and the plastic on the back seat.
Yeah, and then the plastic in the back seat was interesting, and it's a bench seat too. So not all vehicles have bench seats.
And the part about the driveway, I'm curious. Do you feel like, because looking at the Idaho 4 house, which is 1122, crap, I can't think of the street name. Anyway, there's not a driveway there per se. Do you think it was moved? The truck was moved?
No. Well, according to Murphy, he was in the driveway. So it was like right outside. Yeah, right outside the house. That's what he was saying.
So he was right outside. Wow.
They said that they heard him barking, because you said somebody said they heard barking. So maybe that was what they heard.
Yeah.
If he's in the back of a truck, you can hear a dog barking.
Yeah. And at some point, it sounds like he's inside, and at some points he's outside. So it could have been walking and then in the truck. And then I think the next day they might have let him run around, like out and let him run, because I have a picture of him.
So he has to go to the bathroom, he has to go do his business.
I think if Murphy as a person, I'm like, really? He's a dog? Hi, Murphy. Murphy's staring at me again. Well, yeah, because he's seen running, and then the cops leash him that next day when they're there doing whatever they were doing. Well, they were investigating. I guess I'm referring to the rest of the group that was hanging around. Well, thank you for sharing that. I hope that I have been trying to get that information out in some of the streams that I follow, Birdie, Phoenix. Oh my gosh, so many people. So I hope that they will listen and, connect with you too, because we could dive deeper into this. But I do want you to talk to people and tell us more about your recent readings. I was going to say interviews with dogs, but tell me.
Yeah, it was funny. I did a reading yesterday, and it was really, really interesting, because all the readings are different. It doesn't matter what it is. And it all depends on what people are wanting to know about their animals. So how I do it is, you would text me a picture of your pet, showing his eyes or her eyes. And then I would communicate with the pet. And then you'd also text me your specific questions that you really want to know, like about their health, or like this, and one in particular was, why do you make me feel like, do I make you sad? That's what the person said to the animal. And anyway, long story short, it was fantastic. Was sad. Yeah. So anyway, so what had happened is that your pets, basically what they do is they mimic their owners in a lot of ways. So they'll use the same words to help the owners recognize, or actually their people recognize, that it's them that they're talking to. So it's a lot of fun. So like very specific words were used, and so this person that I did the reading for was like, whoa, I see those words all the time. And so it was very cool, because then it made her feel like, then that is my dog that's talking. It was like confirmation for her, even more so than before.
Yeah, I would say that my daughter said that about you.
Yeah.
Her words. She's like, Stacey used words that only she and Simone know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really, really cool. So, so it's neat when you have somebody that reads for you that does that, because then you know that it's the personality of the pet that, you're speaking to, and it's in relation to the person that they live with. So, or, that's interested in communicating with them. So it was really neat to reiterate that yesterday. So it was a lot of fun. And this one dog that I talked to yesterday wanted me to meet it in person. And I thought that was hilarious because a lot of them do, but a lot of times I'm too far away, so I can't, go and meet them in person. But this one was actually right around the corner. And so, well, 20 minutes. And so I went ahead and did like a preliminary reading ahead of time, which is where you use telepathy and entrainment. Those are two ways to communicate with animals. So telepathy is a mind to mind communication. And then the empathy is, or empathic type stuff is where it's heart to heart. And then that way you can feel into energy and really recognize, the pets, like where they are in this space and time. So it could be that, say, one pet like is lost for like a lost pet, and you want to know if the pet transitioned, then it would be entrainment. That was how you like really recognize that it would be that they're gone, unless you can hear really well too. So you have like all these different skills, and like I said, you can feel, see, you can even like taste things. Like I had a pony that I talked to one time, and he really loved green apples over red apples. So it was very important that he got them. Yeah. So he made sure I could taste the green apple versus the red apple. So yeah, it was really interesting. So animals are so fascinating. But anyway, so this pet wanted me to come and actually experience the energy of where she lived with.
Come see my house.
Pretty much, yeah, and it was really cute because that she wanted to explain to me about this. She has like this big tree that she would like go and lay next to, and that's where she would meditate and really like feel into the energy of earth and all that kind of stuff. But get this is really cool. The reason why too that she wanted me to be there is because her person is basically, I don't know if you believe in past lives, but I do just because I've seen them. But
you have an old soul. I already told you that.
yeah, so there.
I did her numerology today. If anybody needs a reading, hit me up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that was so cool. It was amazing. It was so awesome. So anyway, so turns out that her family that she has right now is actually a dynamic of a puppy with her and then her person. And her person's a lady. Well, anyway, it turns out that the lady is a shaman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she's been denying it.
Oh, wow.
So the biggest thing though, and this is what's really cool about this, is that when I went there, it was like things started opening up for both of them. And then she realized that her pet that she had, the dog, has been in her life many, many, many times before. And so then that makes her an angel dog.
Yeah.
And the angel pets are pets that we've had in our lives that travel through, time with us through, many lifetimes. And they help us complete our purpose. So every pet has its own purpose. And then, of course, we have our own purpose. And then we have our purpose together with our pet. So it's really, really, really fascinating. So this was a total reiteration of all of that. And then when I was there, it's like anything, it's like the infinity sign. What you put out, you receive back. So all the information that I was giving them, it was like really hitting me at the same time. And so it was the coolest reading because of that, because I was learning
too. I was telling you about in your numbers, the mirror. Yeah.
So, and that's what was going on. And I was like, whoa, this is so awesome. For me, it made my day because it was just like one of my best readings, because here I was being able to really share in the energy of the pet, plus their home, plus the puppy that they had, and then herself, the person. And then of course this beautiful, beautiful pine tree. So yeah, so it was like everything was all related. It was just such a cool reading. It was so fun.
Magical. What do you think? Like, is the dog happy? Like, what was like? Can you tell us a little bit without getting super specific?
Oh no, the dog was in fact.
Puppy.
Can you talk a little bit and
okay. I do want to say that Sassy says, in my opinion, animals would seem more difficult than people, empathically feeling, especially. They see everything. People don't hide their truth in front of them. I'm not sure I completely understand that. what do you think about reading animals over people? I think animals actually would be easier. You just have to tap it. No? Okay.
Animals are sassy. I love your name, Sassy. You're so cute. So, no, you're right that people are easier to read. A lot of times well, from my experience, if somebody can read people, they're really good. I mean, we all can, by the way. We all have these skills.
Yeah.
But not everybody can read animals. So she's correct at that. It's much in to a depth, you know what I mean?
True.
But you really can if you can if you're a good medium and you're a good psychic and that type of stuff with people, you they're not always good with animals. They don't can't, a lot of times they can't read the animals. So I don't know why, but it's just the way it works out, but it's really interesting. So yeah, so this dog was so cute, you guys. It was so cute.
You got it?
She absolutely, she said,
Do you know what kind of dog it was?
she says she feels it's a mutt, and I can't remember the type of dog. I can show you a picture.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Anyway, so the dog said, I feel blessed.
Aw.
She said, I feel so much love and I'm very gracious because of it. And so those two words, blessed and gracious, are what the person uses in her vocabulary a lot. And she says it to herself a lot too. And and when she's walking with her dogs and stuff, she really brings in the whole family and the whole idea of, earth grounding, all that kind of stuff. So the dog really, really loves all of that energy. And this dog was actually really neat, or is actually neat, because she also sees colors. So she sees auras. Yeah, it's fascinating. So I have to tell you all, animals are so important in our lives. It's so amazing how beautiful and lovely and the energy that they bring to us and how we can, feel the I don't know, just the emotions actually is what it comes down to, that they can, implement into our lives. It's just is so fascinating. So I love it.
I agree. Let me see. Sassy has a lot to say, so we're definitely paying attention. I can empathically feel and read my own pets, right? I know. And I talk to them all the time. And Pippa's the smartest, isn't she?
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding. What else is she going to tell me? I think she's my angel dog too.
Yeah, she's definitely one of them.
She's my angel dog.
She's been here a long time. Many, many times for sure. She's got a lot more to say too. She's pretty cool.
Really? You want to tell me?
She's so fun. She's so her dog is so cute. I don't know if anybody's ever seen her, but she's just adorable. She's so fun. I just got to meet her today. I'm actually looking around. Oh, her picture's up over there. That's so funny.
Oh, I told you, Peggy, how it always happens. I'll be talking and something will pop up on my brain.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah,
she's gonna put a picture of her up, but I
can't. She actually reminds you a lot of, just like we were talking about earlier. She reminds you to stay in the moment, like that, the precious moment that we have in life. We're always so busy. We're constantly thinking ahead. We're thinking back. We're thinking, analyzing. Our brains are going like crazy. So when we have our pets in our lives, we literally have just that moment just to sit there, and either pet them or, talk with them through, however you talk. Like, I know a lot of people that talk out loud to their dogs and they just talk to them like they're humans. Yeah. And that's the best way to do it, by the way, because obviously your dogs or, even cats, they'll pick up on the verbiage and vocabulary that you use. I mean, as an example of what I just gave you today. So it's really fun for them, to have you talk to them. Like, they love it.
I even have those toys with Pippa where she knows to push outside and treat, and yes, I think she's brilliant. And I made a video. I don't know if I put it on here or TikTok of her being my spirit animal because I'm that sure. Right. And I tell her every day, you have to you're whether you're here or you cross, you're my spirit animal. So learn it now, girl. Connect. You feel me? So Miriam is a wonderful Oh wait, before I go on, Miriam is a wonderful medium, and I see she says I'm working on it. That would be really cool. And you have an adorable dog too, Miriam. So does Peggy. I think we're all animal lovers here. Now, this is something Sassy brought up that I want to ask too. No, Sassy, shoot, girl, I'll give you the link. You can come and talk. She does. I love that you're here, Sassy. I want to ask about this. So, when they go through trauma and painful things, how is that to deal with? And have you had to deal with that? I think Murphy, it was traumatic, but thank God he wasn't hurt, which is highly unusual. Again, true crime crowd. Why did they not hurt Murphy? Who took Murphy? Where'd they put Murphy? Murphy has a lot to say. And Murphy is the best witness. And that is why I pulled Stacey in.
But then, don't forget his words of the world is still a good place. I mean, that's huge.
That's how we
trauma, that you're just talking about. Apparently, that's how he's assessing and assimilating his experience, is that the world is still a good place, even through all of this, what had happened that night to him and everybody that was there. Because he didn't know exactly what was happening outside. At the time that he was outside, he did know what was going on inside, because the animals are so intuitive, especially with their people. So he actually did know what was going on, but he didn't actually witness it with like his eyes. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by he didn't know like with his eyes like what was being done, but he did witness all of the other stuff. Not so visible.
And that is accurate because he wasn't in the house. Right. But another thing they redacted that's coming out now, they have all these videotapes, ring camera, ring doorbells, and all that, outdoor cameras that they were all muted. They were all muted, and it was just the quietest night, not a peep. Everybody went to bed at 9:00. Woke up the next day at 8:00, didn't hear a thing. And for a long time, that's what everybody thought. But then out comes more of the truth, and out comes more of the videos, and out comes the fact of, oh, why is that muted? Why is the timer off? The timestamps off. Why is the time wrong? What time did this really happen? Was it 4 a.m? Kaylee's mom, I believe, said 2 a.m. is the dark hour. So, and at 2 a.m., around that time, through advancements in technology and pure stubbornness on the part of true crimers, they pulled out the audio, and you can hear them screaming. You can hear conversations. You can hear torture. So although Murphy didn't see it, he heard it. He heard it. He heard Kaylee. It makes me want to cry. Yeah. Yeah. And the timing is there's different times that they heard Murphy bark. And also Murphy's not the only dog on that street. But there are experts that were able to identify Murphy's bark. Okay, so I give them credit that they could do that and extract which one is Murphy's bark from another bark.
Yeah, they should be able to.
They could. And
I mean, they could do it with people. Animals.
I
can't imagine with our technology.
Yeah, and then the fact that you couldn't hear them screaming, and then you could, when you fix the tape. So there was something I was going to ask you about that. Just bleep out of my head. Yes, when they were walking Murphy out, they kept telling him not to bark. Do you remember that? And I saw question. Go ahead. Do you remember them telling brother said, "Don't bark"? Remember there was a lot.
Yeah, he said quiet. Yeah, it was very intense. Like where they were like, you need to be quiet, especially while Murphy was being walked to the truck. They were really, really intent upon him staying quiet
Right.
while he was walking to the truck. Yeah, I felt the tension, like I could feel like like the solidity of the leash and all of that with the neck. Yeah, just the whole thing. It was definitely a tense moment and so he took it very seriously. Murphy did at that moment. I think it was like, okay, what are we doing? Yeah, he knew it wasn't to go outside to poop.
Yeah, not a good walk.
That wasn't a
This
good
is
walk.
not a normal walk. No.
Um,
Okay, so Sassy says, do animals in general to forgive and forget and move on?
That is a really, really wonderful question because actually, when I was growing up, I was 9 years old, and I was how I learned all of this stuff basically was through a horse, and that horse was abused. And it was really, really interesting because she was abused, like physically abused and emotionally abused, because they used to take her feet away from her. They would like throw her in a dark stall and leave her there for days. They would, she was actually stunted in her growth because of all of the abuse that she had. And she wasn't trusted, so she didn't trust anybody. So she did lose that ability to trust. But over time, it was so interesting because over time, I kept her, I had this horse from the time I was 9 years old till the time I was 32, and she was the same age. So she was
a long time.
yes, really long time.
20 as a horse is incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure. So anyway, so she yeah. Oh, definitely. She's a Pegasus now. So anyway, what was really interesting about that is that over time, though, she did start to, like assimilate and help, me actually learn how to be more um, proactive with my emotions, emotional intelligence and all of that kind of stuff, and really recognizing where I stood within, the space and time of where I was. And it was so fun and so interesting. And again, she sounded, because I can hear words, and she sounded like, who was it? Like the godmother, the fairy godmother in Disney. That's how she sounded to me when I was little. And then, of course, as we got older, she sounded more normal to me. But it was, yeah. So
Cinderella?
I think so, yeah.
Cinderella's godmother?
Yeah, I think so. Might be that one. But anyway, so yeah, so they do forgive and forget. I don't know if they actually forget, but they definitely forgive. Animals are absolutely, in my opinion, the most forgiving beings on the planet.
That's good to know. Oh, and you have to tell more about this pony and how you learned the unicorns. Let's go over it again. You talked about it before. Yeah, the whole thing is really special. Go on.
So Pearl actually was the pony's name, and she was so neat because if you think about how a pearl is actually cultivated and created, it has to go through a lot of agitation first, and then it turns into a pearl. So her name actually represented her life and who she is, and it was really, really, really fascinating to me that that's like something. Again, our names, everything that we have in our lives, as far as like other people and our numbers, right? Our numbers and everything. It's all relative to what's happening. And so that pony definitely had the right name for sure. But she taught me everything. I mean, everything about communicating and being fair and just to listen. So when you are, and this is what I believe about like really, really super athletes and things like that, is that when we need something, the answers are there for us no matter what. It doesn't matter. You can ask a tree, you can ask God, you can ask, the sky, you can ask, people in the sky, the experts that are above us all the time. I say above us just because that's where our chakra is up here. And but they're actually all around us is the truth. The truth is that they're everywhere. But but it's really interesting because the masters, I call them the sky people, would like help me learn how to ride. And my pony actually taught me how to tap into that. And it was the neatest thing. So for me, when I was growing up and I was riding horses, I didn't have a lot of money to take lessons or to, do like a lot of different things. And so I learned more from just the horses teaching me and listening is basically what it came down to. It was really, really, really cool. So yeah.
How did that turn into the unicorn reading? Didn't she teach you that?
She did not teach me the unicorns part of it, but a friend of mine actually, after I got divorced, well, I was getting divorced, I should say, and having to sell my farm and all this other stuff. And so I was just going through a shift in time. And so I was like learning, I thought there has to be something more. So I took a class actually. And when I took class, Pearl was already, a sky horse. But that is where I learned about Pegasus, is because when she came to me and during this time, she was a Pegasus. And so it was fascinating to me because I didn't even believe in Pegasus, believe it or not, but I didn't.
Yeah. I never.
No, I wouldn't. You just don't. You don't believe in that stuff. You think it's all, fairy, airy, fairy.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, that's all true, by the way. But anyway, so I know, funny, right? It's true. But so anyway, so they so the unicorns came up for me in this as well. And a friend of mine actually asked me, she said, you know that you have unicorns around you? And I said, what? No. And she goes, no, seriously, they do. You do. And I said, okay. She goes, just close your eyes and call them in. And you guys, it was the neatest thing. These like white unicorns came up from behind me and they were like surrounding me like a herd of them. And it was the coolest thing. And so then I basically took them back to the barn. And when I was riding my horse, the unicorns were like next to us. And she's like, when I was riding my horse, she would never be quiet. She was always talking to me. And so anyway, and this is my horse now. And so anyway, so I'm riding her and my horse is like, do you see that? Like, she's like, and I go, yeah. And she's like, I go, are they really there? And she said, uh-huh. So it was like so fun, to like start seeing unicorns. And then that started to relate into people readings after that. And then, because we all have unicorns actually that surround us. At least that's what I see, as far as spirit. Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I can see past lives. I can see future. I can see your soul purpose. There's so much. I mean, really, we are very, very complicated and extremely wonderful at the same time. So it's wonderful.
Okay, so there's a couple questions too that relate to where you are right now. Okay, first of all, Kathy says, and I know where you're going with this. Yes, yeah, Angie, I'm getting to your question too. Kathy says that they've had their dog since she was 8 weeks old, and she's very skittish around men. Is that from a past life? Because there's probably not been that influence.
Right. No, you're right. Like no abuse or anything like that. A lot of times, and what's really interesting is that men, of course, have a different energy and they have another stance and things like that. So is it all men or is it just certain men that this comes up with? If you go through it with her, the dog, you'll recognize like whether or not the energy is what's happening with it. So it's more than likely that she's very sensitive to energy. The one I'm trying to think, because I did read a dog that actually had an issue with oh man, that was it. But that was one of you people, one of you guys. I can't remember who did I do the reading for. It was Armani. Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, that one. It was so cute. But that dog could see spirit. That dog could see like so they had a dog that the dog could actually see the energy of this one person. And what it was is that he saw that the energy was half in and half out. So his spirit was basically not his spirit, but his soul was half in and half out, because your spirit isn't in your body, it's outside of your body. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so what happens though is that dog was like really skittish around that person because of that. So there's many reasons for animals to have this skittish attitude towards people, whether it's men or women or whatever it is. But the women tend to be softer, more open, like they'll walk up to the dog more open and free, whereas a man's more reserved and pulls their energy back a little bit first and assesses the situation before they'll walk in, whereas a woman will just kind of blow in the room and most of the time, and just allow that loving energy to come through. So that what me, that might be what the dog is. We would have to do a full reading in order to really understand exactly what your dog is experiencing.
Yeah, readings help with those specific questions. And then Sassy says the man's tone of voice is different too. Yeah. And let's see. Now, Angie, you guys about the Idaho 4. Oh, Sassy, you're a new member again? You're a new member. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We all appreciate it. And Peggy does too. She is still here. Is that my dog coughing? You hear her coughing? My dog is coughing. Strong. Angie asked, where is it? Angie, where to go? Was there any kind of motive established or determined? No. No, no, and no. There's rumors of him that he stalked them. He did not. There's rumors that, like Maddie, for example, whose birthday is tomorrow. I want to just mention that again. If you guys are coming in late, Maddie was one of the ones killed in the Idaho 4 murders, where we kicked this off on that great note. But it is about Murphy. He's so cool. But Brian Koberger did not stalk them at the Mad Greek. There's no indication he knew the house, knew them, he may have in a roundabout way known them, but that's not been proven. It's a complicated house that he was never in. The murders seem to be very targeted, and they knew what rooms to go to, which is not something he would have known. And that would have come out in trial if there would have ever been a trial. And what else can I tell you guys? They have the vehicle wrong. The DNA evidence is scarce and misinterpreted and very much does not point to Brian Koberger. There is evidence that there were at least 2 perpetrators, possibly 4. So even if you don't care about this case or the dog or anything, there's likely people out there who participated in this that have not been apprehended, I guess would be the word. What else can I tell you guys? Murphy had no blood on him. Yeah, and that's not anything anybody's talked about, a murder robbery in terms of motive. There's been all types of trafficking discussed, whatever kind you want to think of. There's been fraternity involvement accusations. Is it just some crazy relationship gone wild and we're gonna kill 4 people? I don't know. Murder suicide? I don't think so. Were 2 of the victims targeted? There is evidence, yes, that Xana Kernodle and maybe Maddie were targeted. Xana probably was definitely targeted. It's hard for me to say definites and not get in trouble.
Anna's door, wasn't that replaced or something? Like the lock on her door? Something was replaced, right?
Yeah, there's evidence of the doors getting kicked in and things like that, and evidence that Xana never left her room. So, and she and Ethan were killed in that room together. And then Maddie and Xana. No, Maddie and Kaylee.
Replaced, and her dad come in and replace the lock or something on her door because it had been broken. Something you told me at some point.
Yeah, there is something about the lock. I don't know either. We'll have to dive. I forget about the lock, but we'll dive into that. Well, it happened. We're going on almost 4 years. Let me see what some of these other questions are. Miriam says, I need to book a reading about my dog. I've got questions. Well, do. I put Stacey's number up. I still have it from our last talk. It says text her and she'll reach out. Let me see what else anybody has to say. Soul's purpose sounds like a super interesting and knowledgeable talk. Yeah. Yes. And she can help with personal human readings too. As a matter of fact, I thought you were a member, Sassy. I think you have been, but thank you for joining. Okay, I don't see any more questions. If you guys have any questions, let us know. But I'm going to give you this. I do want, like, what would you tell me about my soul purpose? Like, am I putting you on the spot? How do you get into that with somebody? And beyond that, okay, not that. Like the dog reading you just did. Mm-hmm. How do you know that the owner is a shaman?
That was really interesting. Huh. Now it's putting me on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really. I receive information. I receive information, and this is so cool because everybody receives information. I mean, we all. That's humans. That's what we are. We're energetic beings that respond to energy. That's why love is an energetic emotion. And it surrounds us like all the way around our entire bodies. From what I understand, when you emanate love, it's even behind you, which is really interesting. So, and they're doing studies on that with something I forget, Heart Math. I want to say Heart Math Institute. But anyway, so it's all very interesting that so. But with me, how I receive information is I'll get like a mental hit. So when I was sitting there talking to the dog and her person, it was like automatically something just said, what is that, by the way? Banging. Anyway, so Pippa's so cute. Anyway, so how I received it was it was actually the words said shaman to me. And so then it said refusal of shamanism. And then what else happened? There was a couple of different things that were just kind of pinging in my mind. And so then that's how I received the information. And then I could also feel then once I did that, then I could see her as a shaman, like in a past life. It was really, really, I just got goosebumps. Really, really interesting. It was fun. And so she's pretty advanced. But I had for some reason, and I'm not sure why we do this as humans, like why in the world would we, have a hard life first and then, pick the better life at the end? Why can't we just have a good life the whole time? But she's,
Why did I sign that contract?
So I know, me too. It's like, so I was explaining to her yesterday, and this is like so interesting to me because a friend of mine actually explained it to me. And what it was is that we have like different points in our life. So first we can go through like where we have chapters. So chapters, we go from chapter to chapter. But then there's times when you literally stop what you're doing in this life and you're starting a whole new life. And so that's what was happening to her. She was going from being this, like in this other lifetime, and now she's in her new book. And in her new book, there's better relationships, there's better ideas, there's more of that tapping in and recognizing, spirit and earth and all of that kind of stuff, which is, the words that you use as a shaman, and also healing for other people around her, just a lot of different things. So it's really, really interesting how we can go from like just being in a book of life is not always a book of life. It could be several books that you go through in life, which is really interesting. It's fun.
Yeah, I feel like that with numerology, these 9-year cycles we go through, and how I told you, for example, your boyfriend's going through a rebirth. It's a new book. Tell him. He's got the new book coming. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yes. Angie lost her dog Lola and her boyfriend. Like Angie, I feel you, girl. I lost in 2016. As a matter of fact, it's been 10 years. I lost my dad, then my fiance. Wait, where did a cat and then my other dog, which I thought was my only, like, the dog I would love forever. But then she came and I was like, oh, 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 girl, you're my spirit animal. So Angie's been through it. Angie, I'm sending you a big hug. And Lola passed. Folly, let's see. You have an orb. She has an orb, a video. Let me show this, you guys. I have a video of Lola following an orb. I feel like she was super energy sensitive in her little body. Ah, what if that was your boyfriend's orb? Angie, we got to talk about that. And then what else? And then Sassy. My cat just has zoomies. But seriously, she does crawl in my lap whenever I'm doing any self-healing and learning. Yeah. She also lives on my areas of pain when sick and hurt. She's a nurse cat. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, our pets, again, that's their soul's purpose. Like we talked about earlier, we all have our purpose here on earth, and our animals have purpose here on earth. And then, then you have their purpose with you in your life. And so it's like, it's really, really, really fascinating. And it's amazing that you know what she's doing. That's just fantastic.
And this is a good question too. She says she's scared that she's taking on the sick energy.
Well, the thing with that, and that's really interesting because we as humans, people that are really empathic can do that, and then they end up being sick themselves because they haven't learned how to, release it afterwards, or even not take it completely in. Right, exactly. And but with animals, they're so much smarter. I just want to say that they're smarter. If she came in as that, she had the knowledge and the wherewithal to be able to handle it for herself. And so most of the time, they don't take it in so much. But I can tell you though that animals do take in their family pain when they're not a nurse cat. You see what I'm saying? So like you can have a pet that really really takes on, say, somebody's energetic being, and that they're not a healthy energy, and so the pet will take that on, and then they end up getting sick. So there is something to that as well. So like we were talking about with any pet, they can get a little bit sick when they've got like something else going on with their.
A little worried about that. Oh God, don't blame it on me. I was gonna ask you, when this latest person that you read for asked if her dog was sad, she must have been feeling like she was making the dog sad. So how did that go?
Yeah, it was so fun though when I love no, she would love this. She would love this. She'd love watching this because I spent a lot of time with them. I spent like 2 hours with them, and really, while I was there, her dog kept on walking. Like every single time I said something that was truth, the dog would walk over and lick my face. And then, yeah, it was really funny. And she'd wag her tail when she was being talked to. And so she acted very, very like she was acting out the happiness and the joy that, what I was talking about. And it was really, really, really cool for, the lady to see her dog happy and recognize that it's not, that she's really not sad. But there were a few things that needed to be corrected in the situation. And that was, again, why I was there. The puppy was interfering with this dog's space, and the dog really liked to travel with the lady when the lady would like, sit and travel herself, mentally travel. Then her dog wanted to be there in that quiet space and travel with her, and she couldn't when the puppy's all over her. So that was something for her, and she just was getting really tired of the puppy. So the lady needed to learn to, separate the dogs, but, in a kind way, let the puppy have her space, and then the older dog have her space, and then, when the time was right. And then again, the dog loved the tree and the tree loved the dog. And so that was something else. She just loved to go out there and lay in the sun and just blend in with the energy of the tree. So it was important for that to happen for this dog, and so she was getting like where she just wasn't, and so she would,
she wanted you there to see the tree and
yeah,
everything.
exactly, and that was the thing. But with this though, when the dog kept on stopping and staring at her mom, okay, with their ears kind of back a little bit, and she was trying to communicate to her, pet parent that something's wrong, something's, not right here. And she did that because the mom then, of course, called me. And so then that was the good part of this whole story. You see what I'm saying? Right. She's telling you she's going through some some trauma here with this other dog. Exactly. So so it was really fun. And again, after she learned all of it, and the puppy actually started to get the idea of it too when I was talking, because I was communicating with the puppy as well. And so it all just like when I left, it was like a little happy family. It was so cute.
I'm so proud of you. It's a good day. It's a good to be a spiritual guide and healer and helper. It really is. And I hope this helps Angie too, because just girl, I get it. I get it. The orb was way before Doug died. Okay. But they were both too young, which I agree, honey. And then my bonus mom on top of it all. Yeah. So yeah. Now the orb, though, I believe is real and that Lola saw it. It was probably the energy of someone else that's passed around you before all this happened. And I wonder what do you get on that? I wonder if it was some sort of communication. And I ask this because I even have pictures of my own brother before he died, and there's orbs around him. You got something to say.
Yeah, well, when we when we do pass, it's really interesting. My cousin, she told me a story because she was a terminally ill nurse for kids, like a pediatric nurse for kids that were terminally ill. And she said that it wasn't a joke, but it was kind of a joke because the nurses needed to keep their sense of humor. But what they would say is they'd say, "Don't go to the light, don't go to the light," because when they'd walk into the rooms, the kids would be talking to someone that wasn't there. And so she was always like, "Don't go to the light yet. Don't go to the light yet. We need to call your parents first. Whatever it was."
She knew when to stay.
Yeah, you gotta stay for this. But anyway, but yeah, so yeah, we're surrounded by so many beings when we are, ready to transition into the next life. And in this case, if there are orbs around people, and they do prep you for it, by the way, they do prep you for it. And it's really interesting. And so, but it's all with loving energy, because everything on the other side is love. It's all love. There's nothing else but love there. It's just wonderful. So it's no need to be afraid. Yeah, definitely don't be afraid. And also, I know that we miss them because they're no longer touchable, but they're actually still there. They're still right around you, hanging out. Yep, all the time. I mean, we can just call on them and be like, "Hey, give me a sign. Can you show me that you're around?" And if they're not busy, by the way, they can be busy too, though. So just so you know. But if they're if they're not busy, then they'll pop in and give you some sort of indication, whether it's the truth about bugs, like dragonflies or butterflies or anything like that when you're thinking about somebody, or a penny on the ground. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that that they can show through all ways, or somebody with the same voice, or just anything at all that can happen.
But I see one of my besties in here, Lisa, lost her dog 8 months ago. I'm sorry, honey. If you need help, Stacey's here for you. Just send a picture. Let me put her number back up. Sending you big hug. Oh, there's your number. Hey, it just popped up. I'm tech savvy. Look at me. So, my mom has been gone since 2009. And it was a Mother's Day. I don't know when. Since 2020, I would say this happened when I've been more spiritually awakened, whatever, aware. And I see repeating numbers. I see signs all the time, but I was in one of those moods where you don't really want to believe it, or you're just being cynical, skeptical, grumpy. I was being a grumpy bear. I was grumpy bear that day. And I was like, dang, I'm really missing my mom, blah, blah, blah. Just, okay, send me a feather, a coin, a stupid whatever. That's really what I said, like out loud. And you guys know, it's one of my favorite stories. But within 24 hours, walking Pip by, look down, a dime cut in half. Like, here, bitch. You want a coin? You're going to make fun of it? And have I ever found another one cut in half? No. It is in my charm casting that you might want a charm reading on your, you and your boy. So, do you guys have, it's 3:11 already. We can gab, huh, girl? We can gab. Let me think of
Me, by the way, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here with me and with them. Let me think of, do you guys have any more questions before we sign off? And I will be here to do readings for you guys, I promise. So get your questions in order. Leave me comments on the pick of cards and on the community post so that we can connect. That's all I ask. And if you're out there in the ethers listening, please like and subscribe. Please. It's only fair. Energy exchange. You wouldn't want bad energy, right? No.
What you put out, you get back. So
there you go.
Sign, put out, you get it back.
Okay, let me see. I want to bring Peggy up too to say hi. It's been a minute since you've gotten to say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Stacey. How are you? And I saw your comment, Peggy, that Sasha came into your life after some loss too.
Yeah.
And she was lost in the desert for real. If you want to explain that one.
Yeah, I got Sasha from a rescue, and the lady was called by a friend of hers that found this dog wandering in the California desert, and they didn't know how long she had been in there. And she was really skinny and very anxious, but she was friendly and walked up to them, and they were able to take her and get her to the rescue. And then how I found her is my daughter's boyfriend worked at a veterinary office. And so the rescue uses that particular office. And so he got to take her out and walk her around the parking lot every day. And he said she was a really sweet dog. He'd send pictures, and I kept saying, no, I don't want another dog, because my heart was just completely crushed when my Labrador passed away. And just something kept eating at me going, okay, bring her over for a meet and greet. We'll just bring her to the house, see how she does. And if we like her and she fits in, then fine. But if not, then, that's it. No more. She came in this house and laid down and went to sleep.
Oh, yeah, they do. They give us signs. I have to tell you, yeah, exactly. This is wonderful. My sister went to get a kitten just recently, and it was really funny because she goes, "How will I know?" And I said, "I don't know. If he licks you on the face." And I said, "He licks you on the face. Like a kitten's gonna actually do that?" Like you didn't have time for your sister. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But get this. This is so funny. Is that exactly what happened to her? She said he walked up, he licked her on the face, and it was a boy. And I was like, "See, I told you." So it was really funny.
You could have been a little more helpful. Siblings. It was a sibling thing. You were right. Oh, Sassy, you're so sweet. What, I could do 3 hours once a week with Liz and Stacey on different topics. That would be so fun. Should I move to Venice?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll downsize so they can't come back home and keep coming back home. You heard that phone call today. That sounds like a mom. Oh God. No. Okay, so let me focus. 3 hours on different opening brain and learning. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Sassy. You're amazing. And Sassy came into my world in a roundabout way. I don't think she watches a lot of like tarot cards or anything. And she's very intuitive and psychic in her own way. Is that your phone? Okay, I was just curious what little angelic sounds were going on. It sounds like it. I'm like, are you hearing that too?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing words, but I'm hearing signs. Okay, well, we'll go now. I will try to be here live at least once a week. You guys, I've been bad lately. It's been a hot minute, but everything's good here. Thanks, Lisa. Yes, hit like and subscribe, and you will come back again, won't you?
Only an hour away, so it's easy to get here.
And we can meet. We could also meet in the middle. And I love you too, guys, very much. Very, very much. You keep me going here. You have no idea. And if you get more downloads on Murphy, no pressure, but let us know, because in my opinion, yes, Brian Kohlberger pled guilty, but I do not believe he is. And I don't think this case is going to go away anytime soon. And I have spelled your last name wrong probably a lot of times. That's correct. Lately on my recent post, I spelled it wrong. So note to self. You're welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. And Peggy, thank you as always for helping and being with us. It's great to see your face. So we will go and let me verify something, that I will be here next Tuesday to read for you guys. Angie, thanks for hopping in, girl. Love you so much. If you guys are on TikTok, you can find me there too. But let me see. Just how about this? Know that I will be live next week. Check my community post, likely Tuesday. I feel like something came up that I'm not thinking of. So just check Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be live again to read for you guys. I hope you have questions, and definitely reach out to Stacey. If you'd like a reading or you want to learn more about what she does, and if you are nearby and want lessons too. She's a great writer. Equestrian. All right. You're off this week? Will you want me to do a reading for you? Why are you crying? It's good to be off this week, Kathy. Let me know if you have any questions. And definitely check out the pick a cards. Maybe you'll find your answer there. Okay. All right. Well, here, say bye to everybody.
Bye, you guys. Thank you again for having me. It was so much fun. I really enjoy this, and it's fun to tell stories. Okay, we'll see you soon.
They're not stories. It's real truth.
Well, I know.
To share. Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Peg. Thanks again, you guys.